It's a Tuesday evening, and I'm staring at the Chicago skyline through the floor-to-ceiling windows of our apartment. The city is bustling beneath me, but inside, it feels too quiet. Sophia's not home yet. Another late client meeting, she said this morning as she kissed me on the cheek. Her lips soft, but her mind clearly elsewhere. It's become routine. I've stopped asking about it. The glow from my laptop screen casts long shadows across the polished marble floor. My inbox is a mess, overrun with client demands, deadlines, and half-finished deals. I'm about to close it all down when an email catches my eye. No subject line, no name, just a single sentence. Do you know who she really is? My stomach knots. I sit up straighter, my finger hovering over the mouse before I click the email open. Attached are photos. Grainy, out of focus, but undeniably Sophia. The first one shows her at a bar, leaning in toward a man I can't see clearly. Her posture, her smile, too familiar, too comfortable. My pulse quickens. Another photo. They're standing close together outside, an alleyway behind them. His hand rests on her waist. She doesn't move it away. The timestamp shows it was last night. She told me she was on a client call late into the night. She even texted me after midnight, apologizing for coming home so late, saying she didn't want to wake me. I remember her slipping into bed, her presence quiet and subtle, as always. I stare at the photos again, my mind racing to rationalize, to doubt, to question everything. But no matter how hard I try, I can't shake the feeling gnawing at my chest. My phone buzzes on the desk. Sophia, meeting ran late, be home soon. I glance back at the photos, then at the message. Her words feel wrong, off. I force myself to reply. Me, sure, see you when you're home. An hour later, I hear the soft click of the front door. The sound of her heels taps lightly against the hardwood floor. Her presence like a shadow, always graceful, always composed. I shut my laptop, the photos still burned into my mind as I turned to face her. She's wearing her coat, her scarf draped loosely around her neck. Her face lights up when she sees me, as if nothing has changed. Sophia, she looks up, surprised by the sharpness in my voice. Hey babe, she says, flashing that same smile that used to melt every doubt, every suspicion. Long day? You could say that. I stand up, my mind wrestling with the images I can't unsee, but my voice stays calm, controlled. How was your meeting? She doesn't meet my gaze as she hangs her coat. Exhausting. I told you this client is a nightmare. I don't respond right away. Instead, I pull out my phone, open the email again, and hold it up so she can see. Her eyes flicker over the images for a brief second before she turns back to me, her face expressionless. What's this? She asks, her voice casual. Too casual. You tell me. I step closer, keeping my voice low, controlled. Who's the guy? And don't tell me he's a client, because I'm not buying it. She glances at the photos again, then back at me, her expression tightening just slightly. Luke, it's work. I don't know who sent these or why, but it's not what you think. That's a client. We were talking about a project last night. Stop. My voice sharpens. She's lying. She has to be lying. The hand on her waist, the way she's smiling at him. This isn't just work. You're not telling me everything. Sophia steps toward me, her face softening in that practiced way. Luke, come on. You're letting some anonymous email get into your head. I can explain, but I don't want an explanation. I want the truth. Explain what? How you're meeting some guy in the middle of the night at a bar. How you're lying to me about where you were. Her eyes narrow slightly, irritation flashing behind them, but she quickly hides it. Luke, I meet clients all the time. It's part of the job. You know this. But the mask she's wearing, it doesn't fit right anymore. I see the cracks, the coldness behind her words. I search her face for something real, something that tells me I'm wrong, but all I see is the same polished facade she always wears. She brushes past me, heading for the bedroom without another word. My heart pounds in my chest, a knot forming in my stomach as I stand there, frozen. There's something wrong, something I can't shake. I turn off my phone, following her to bed, but sleep doesn't come. Her breathing is soft and steady, like nothing's wrong, like she's not the one lying next to me with a secret buried so deep I can't find it. The next morning, I'm staring at my coffee, barely registering the taste. Sophia moves around the kitchen, humming softly, her movements fluid and unbothered. It's like last night didn't happen, like those photos aren't burning a hole in my mind. I replay our conversation over and over in my head, the way she brushed it off so easily, the way she smiled, lied, and moved on like nothing had changed. The knot in my stomach tightens as I glance at my phone. Jacob Kane's number is still there, saved from the recommendation of a client. He's a fixer, A man who uncovers secrets for people like me, people who need to know the truth but can't get it themselves. I've never thought I'd need someone like him, but now I don't have a choice. I grab my jacket, catching Sophia's eye as I stand by the door. I've got to head in early. There's some work I need to catch up on. She smiles, taking a sip of her coffee. Okay, babe, we still on for dinner tonight? I nod, forcing a smile. Yeah, I'll be back in time. Her phone buzzes on the counter, and for the briefest moment, her expression shifts. Her fingers pause before she swipes the notification away. I catch the flicker of tension in her eyes before she turns back to me, her smile back in place. I don't ask her who it was. I don't need to. The office is quieter than usual when I arrive. The normal buzz of phone calls and meetings hasn't started yet, and the silence gives me space to think. But thinking is the last thing I want right now. I pull out my phone and stare at Jacob Kane's number. My finger hovers over the call button for a long moment. Once I make this call, there's no going back. But I've already started down this path. She started it. I press call. The phone rings twice before a voice answers, low and gruff. This is Kane. Luke Harper, I say, my voice steadier than I feel. We spoke yesterday. I need you to look into someone. A pause, then the sound of typing. The fiancé, right? Yeah, Sofia Vega. Jacob Kane doesn't waste time. After just a couple of days, I have the first report in my inbox. Photos, timestamps, phone records. Everything I feared and more. She's been meeting him again. Not just once, but multiple times. His name is Adrian Wolf. A name that punches me in the gut as soon as I see it. Adrian is not just some random guy. He's a businessman known for operating in the shadows. Corrupt deals, insider trading, the works. My firm cut ties with him years ago. What the hell is Sophia doing with someone like him? I leave the office early that Friday, my heart pounding as I check Kane's latest message. Kane. She's with him right now at the Whitmore Hotel. Sophia told me she had a client event tonight, a charity function. She even sent me a text saying she'd be home late again. But she's not at a charity function. I park across the street from the hotel, my grip tight on the steering wheel. The streetlights blur as I stare at the entrance, watching people come and go. The world outside keeps moving. Unaware of the storm building inside me, another text from Kane. They're still inside. My chest tightens, my mind is torn. Part of me wants to catch them, to confront Sophia with the undeniable truth. But another part of me hopes I'm wrong, hopes this is all just some colossal misunderstanding. But I know better. I step out of the car, the cold air hitting my face as I walk toward the hotel. The lobby is quiet, the usual luxury ambiance, plush carpets, marble floors, soft lighting. It feels like the setting for a confrontation I'm not ready for. Room 712. I don't knock. My hand hovers over the door handle, and I push it open. It's unlocked. The room is dimly lit. The curtains drawn. I hear voices, low, intimate, coming from the adjoining room. And there she is, standing by the window, her back to me. Sophia's voice is soft, too soft, like she's letting her guard down in a way she never does with me. It's the kind of voice reserved for someone else. I step forward, my heart pounding in my chest, every step deliberate. Sophia. Her body stiffens. Slowly she turns to face me, her eyes widening as the shock hits her like a wave. Luke, what are you? She doesn't finish her sentence. Adrian Wolf steps into the room, his presence commanding, his smile cold and smug. Well, this is awkward, Adrian says, his voice smooth, laced with mockery. He knows exactly what he's doing. I should introduce myself, Adrian Wolf. I don't take my eyes off Sophia. What the hell is going on here? For a moment, Sophia looks like she's about to speak, but she hesitates. I can see the wheels turning in her head, calculating her next move. But before she can say anything, Adrian steps closer, his smirk widening. Let's not make this more complicated than it needs to be, Luke, Adrian says, his tone almost condescending. Sophia and I have an arrangement. It's nothing personal, just business. I feel a wave of rage wash over me, but I hold it back, barely. Business? You're screwing my fiancé, and you call it business? Adrian shrugs, completely unbothered. It's not about you. Sophia is ambitious. She saw an opportunity, and she took it. I glance at her, searching her face for any sign of regret, of the woman I thought I knew. But all I see is the cold, polished mask she's always worn. For the first time, I realize how deep this betrayal goes. Tell me the truth, Sophia. All of it. Her eyes flicker, the facade cracking just slightly. She takes a breath, her voice low, careful. It wasn't just Adrian. It was never just him. I've been feeding him information from your firm, corporate data, legal strategies, everything. Her words hit me like a freight train. My legs feel weak, but I force myself to stand tall, to face the full weight of her betrayal. You've been spying on me. Sophia doesn't flinch. Her voice is steady, almost mechanical. It wasn't about you, Luke. It was about survival. You know how cutthroat this world is. I had to look out for myself. Survival? I choke out, barely able to speak. We were building a life together, Sophia. I trusted you. For a brief moment, her face softens, like she's about to show me something real, something human, but it's gone in an instant. I didn't mean for it to go this far, but once I started, there was no way out. The room feels like it's closing in on me, suffocating. This wasn't just some affair. This was calculated, planned, every word and action designed to betray me. Adrian, still watching, leans against the back of a chair, amused. Look, Luke, I'll make this simple. You can walk away from this with more than you came in with. Money, power, whatever you want, or you can try to fight it and lose everything. I stare at him, my mind racing. Everything he's saying, everything Sophia's done. This is the world I've worked in for years. I've seen people destroy each other for less, but I never thought it would happen to me. I never thought, Sophia. I trusted you, I say, my voice barely above a whisper. I look at her, hoping, praying for something. Anything that tells me this was all a mistake. But there's nothing. She doesn't look away. And in that moment, I know the truth. It was all a lie. I walk out of the hotel, the cold wind biting at my face as I try to process everything that just happened. Sophia, the woman I loved, the woman I planned to spend my life with, has been lying to me from the very beginning. And not just about Adrian. She's been feeding him information from my firm, my work, my life. She's been playing me like a fool. The drive home is a blur. I don't even remember getting in the car or the streets I took. All I know is that when I pull into our driveway, the apartment that once felt like home now feels foreign, empty. I walk inside, the silence deafening. Sophia isn't here. She's still with him, and I can't bring myself to care. Not anymore. I sit on the edge of the bed, staring at the wall, the events of the night replaying over and over in my head. Adrian thinks he's won. He thinks I'll walk away, take his offer, and pretend like none of this ever happened. But he doesn't know me. He doesn't know what I'm capable of. I grab my phone and dial a number I haven't used in years. It rings once before a familiar voice answers. Luke, it's been a while. David Russo, an old contact, a specialist in corporate forensics, the kind of guy you thought when you need to dig deep without leaving a trace. I need your help, I say, my voice steady. What's going on? I need dirt on Adrian Wolf. Everything you can find. Financials, illegal deals, offshore accounts. I want to bury him. There's a pause on the other end. Adrian Wolf, huh? That's a big name. He's covered his tracks pretty well. Not well enough, I say, the anger rising in my chest. Dig deeper. I don't care what it costs. David's voice lowers. This sounds personal. I clench my jaw. It is. The next morning, I'm back at the office, but everything feels different. The city hums below me, and the skyline glows with the sunlight streaming through the windows. Normally, it would make me feel in control, like the world was mine to command. But today, I feel a creeping sense of unease, a fracture in my carefully constructed reality. I can't stop thinking about last night, about Sophia, about Adrian, about how quickly everything unraveled. The betrayal isn't just personal, it's professional. Sophia didn't just cheat on me. She sold me out, sabotaged everything I've built. And for what? Adrian Wolf's empire, the power he promised her. I've spent years fighting my way to the top, doing everything by the book, keeping my hands clean. But now I know the truth. People like Adrian don't play by the rules. And Sophia, she chose his world over ours. I glance at my phone, waiting for David Russo to call back with whatever dirt he's found on Adrian. But I already know what my next move will be. I'm going to destroy Adrian Wolf, and I'll use every tool at my disposal to do it. Just as I'm about to lose myself in work, my phone buzzes. David, I found something. I step out of the office and into the hallway, my heart pounding as I answer the call. What do you have? I ask, my voice tense. Adrian's got a lot of shell companies, David begins, but one in particular stands out. Vega Holdings. The name hits me like a punch to the gut. Vega, Sophia's last name. The betrayal runs even deeper than I thought. David continues, his voice steady. It's tied to several offshore accounts. All of them lead back to Adrian, but he's using Sophia as a front. She's not just involved, she's a key player in this whole thing. I lean against the wall, my chest tightening as the pieces fall into place. Sophia wasn't just feeding Adrian information. She was helping him dismantle my firm from the inside, using me, using our relationship, to build something with him, something bigger. I feel the cold, sharp sting of betrayal settle deeper into my bones. "You've got everything?" I ask, my voice harder now. "I've got enough to bury them both," David says. "But you need to be careful. Adrian's not the kind of guy you can just take down without consequences." "I don't care about the consequences," I say, my voice like steel. "Send me everything." "Will do," David replies, then pauses. "But Luke, what are you planning to do?" I hang up without answering. I already know what I'm going to do. By the time I get home, the tension in my chest has only grown worse. Sophia's car is parked in the driveway, and the sight of it sends a fresh wave of anger surging through me. I step inside, and she's sitting on the couch, her face pale, her eyes filled with a mix of guilt and something else, fear. "Luke," she starts, her voice soft, almost pleading. I cut her off. "I know everything, Sophia. The offshore accounts, Vega Holdings. You've been working with Adrian from the beginning, feeding him information, tearing down my firm piece by piece." Her eyes widen, but she doesn't deny it. She can't. "Luke, please let me explain," she says, her voice trembling. "It's not what you think. Not what I think." I laugh bitterly, shaking my head. "You've been lying to me for months. You've been sabotaging my career, my life, for what? Money? Power?" "It wasn't about the money," she says, her voice breaking. "It was survival. Adrian, he forced me into it. He gave me no choice." "There's always a choice," I snap, my voice rising. "And you made yours. You chose him. You chose to ruin everything we built together." Her lips tremble, and for a moment I almost believe her. I almost believe that this was all some terrible mistake, that the woman I loved is still in there, somewhere beneath the lies. But then I remember the photos, the late-night meetings, the way she looked at him. "Luke," she whispers, stepping toward me, "I still love you." I pull back, the words stinging more than they should. "You don't even know what love is." Sophia's face hardens. "I didn't want this. I never wanted to hurt you." "But you did," I say, my voice cold. "And now you're going to help me take Adrian down." Her eyes widen. "What? No, I can't." "You're going to give me everything," I say, stepping closer, my voice low and dangerous. "Adrian's connections, his financials, every move he's planning. If you don't, I'll make sure you both go down for this. And I'll make sure it's ugly." Sophia's lips tremble as she realizes she's trapped. She knows she has no choice. "Fine," she says, her voice barely a whisper. "I'll help you." "Good," I say, turning away. "Now get out." She hesitates for a moment, like she wants to say something else, but she doesn't. Instead, she grabs her coat and walks out, the door clicking shut behind her. The silence that follows is deafening, but for the first time in days, I feel a strange sense of control. The power is back in my hands, but it's cold, and I'm alone. 3 days later, I'm standing outside Adrian Wolf's high-rise office, staring up at the gleaming tower of glass and steel. This is where it all happens, Adrian's empire. Polished, pristine, and built on lies. The man inside this building thinks he's invincible, that no one can touch him. He's wrong. I've spent the last few days gathering everything David sent me. Financial records, offshore accounts, communications tying Adrian to all kinds of illegal activity. It's all laid out in front of me now. Adrian Wolf is about to lose everything. But this isn't just about taking him down legally. No, I want him to feel it, to watch as his empire crumbles from the inside out, before he even knows what hit him. The receptionist doesn't even blink as I walk into the lobby. I'm dressed in my best suit, my expression unreadable, my posture calm. I've spent my entire career playing this game, wearing the right mask, saying the right things. Today is no different. "They're expecting you," the receptionist says, motioning toward the elevator. "Top floor." I step inside the elevator, watching the city disappear. As the floors rise higher and higher, my reflection in the metal doors stares back at me, cold, composed, nothing like the man I was just a few weeks ago. I don't feel like myself anymore, but maybe that's the point. When the doors open, Adrian is already waiting for me. His office is as sleek and intimidating as I expected. Floor-to-ceiling windows with a breathtaking view of the city. Minimalist decor. Everything carefully designed to remind you of his power. But today, none of it matters. Today, he's just another man, standing at the edge of his own downfall. "Luke," Adrian says, his voice smooth as always, though there's a hint of curiosity in his eyes. "I wasn't sure you'd show. I don't bother with pleasantries." "You said you had an offer for me." Adrian raises an eyebrow, amused. "Straight to business." I like that. He gestures for me to sit, but I stay standing. I'm not here to be comfortable. Here's the deal, Adrian says, leaning back in his chair like a king on his throne. You're smart, Luke. You've always been smart. You've built something impressive, and I respect that. So let's put the past behind us. Forget about what happened with Sophia. Walk away from this, and I'll make sure you come out of it with more than you had before. He leans forward, his eyes locking with mine. I'm offering you a piece of the empire, money, power, everything you've ever wanted. I don't flinch. Adrian's offer hangs in the air, heavy with temptation, but I'm not here to be bought. Let it go, I say, my voice cold. You think I'd walk away after everything you've done? Adrian's smile falters slightly, but his confidence doesn't waver. He leans back in his chair, his hands steepled in front of him, like he's still in control of the conversation. You've been in this game long enough to know how it works, Luke. People rise, people fall, but you're smart enough to survive. I stare at him, unblinking. And what happens to the people who trust you? You chew them up and spit them out, just like you did with Sophia, just like you tried to do with me. He shrugs, entirely unconcerned. Sophia made her choice. You made yours. This doesn't have to be personal. You can walk away from this with your life and career intact, or you can lose everything. I step forward, my voice low, dangerous. You think I'm going to just roll over? That I'd let you take everything from me? Adrian's smirk returns, as cold as ever. You don't have a choice, Luke. Men like me, we don't lose. We rewrite the rules to win, every time. Without a word, I reach into my briefcase and pull out a thick folder, slamming it onto his desk. Adrian's eyes narrow, and for the first time, I see a flicker of doubt behind his cool exterior. Take a look, I say, my voice steady. Everything you thought you buried, it's all in there. The offshore accounts, the insider trading, the shell companies. I've got enough to bury you, Adrian. He opens the folder, his smirk fading as he flips through the pages. I watch his face tighten, the realization dawning on him that he's not in control anymore. His fingers freeze on a document detailing his most sensitive financials. You're finished, I say, stepping closer. When I'm done with you, no one will touch you. Your empire will collapse, and you'll be left with nothing. For the first time, Adrian doesn't have a snappy comeback. His jaw clenches as he processes the information in front of him. He's trapped, and he knows it. You've made a mistake, he mutters, his voice low. You think you're smarter than me. You don't know what you're up against. I know exactly what I'm up against, I say, my voice steady. And so do the feds. Adrian's eyes snap up to meet mine, a flash of fear breaking through his calm mask. What did you do? I didn't just gather this for fun, I say, pulling out my phone. Every document, every piece of evidence, copies are already with the authorities. They're ready to move the moment I walk out of this office. Adrian's face pales. You're bluffing. I lean in, my voice a harsh whisper. Do you really want to take that risk? The silence that follows is deafening. Adrian's grip on the folder tightens, his face a mixture of fury and panic. He's cornered, and there's no way out. I can see the wheels turning in his head, trying to find a way and to regain control. But for the first time, he has no other move left to make. Then, the door behind me opens. I turn, and there she is. Sophia. She steps into the room, her face unreadable, but the sight of her sends a chill down my spine. I wasn't expecting her to show up. Not here, not now. My heart clenches as I lock eyes with her. What is she doing here? She was supposed to be done with this, with him. Adrian's smirk returns, though it's weaker now, tinged with desperation. Looks like we're not done playing this game after all, Luke. My mind races. Sophia was supposed to help me take Adrian down. She gave me the information, the leverage I needed. But as I look at her now, standing next to him, I realize I might have been played again. I trusted her, even after everything. Sophia, I ask, my voice barely a whisper. What are you doing? She doesn't answer immediately. Instead, she glances at Adrian, then back at me, her face conflicted. For a brief moment, I see something familiar in her eyes. The woman I once loved, but it fades as quickly as it appeared. I came to make sure you didn't do something stupid, she says, her voice calm but edged with tension. I laugh bitterly, shaking my head. Stupid? You think trying to take down a man like Adrian is stupid? You don't understand, Luke, she says, taking a step forward. This isn't just about you or me. It's bigger than that. Adrian chuckles behind me. She's right, Luke. You've been playing checkers while we've been playing chess. I whirl around to face him, my hands balled into fists. Don't act like you've won. You're out of moves. Am I? Adrian's voice drips with amusement, but there's an undercurrent of fear there now. He knows he's close to losing everything, but he's still clinging to the belief that he can salvage something. I turn back to Sophia, my voice trembling with both anger and a strange sense of betrayal. Why are you doing this? After everything, after all the lies, you were supposed to help me take him down. Her expression softens, but it's not enough. I tried, Luke. I really did. But Adrian, he gave me no choice. There's always a choice, I snap, echoing the words I told her that night at home. And you made yours. She looks down, her hands twisting nervously. I wanted to help you. I still do. Then why are you here? I ask, my voice breaking. Why did you go back to him? Adrian stands up, stepping closer, his confidence returning. Because she knows what's at stake. She knows that I'm the only one who can protect her from the fallout. My blood runs cold. Sophia had been working with me to take Adrian down, feeding me information, giving me the leverage I needed. But now I realize it was all part of Adrian's plan. He let her give me just enough to make me think I had the upper hand. But the moment I made my move, he had a counter ready. You've been playing me this whole time, I say, my voice flat. Sophia doesn't deny it. Adrian steps beside her, placing a hand on her shoulder like he's claiming her in front of me. You thought you could turn her against me. You're not as clever as you think, Luke. I stare at Sophia, the weight of her betrayal hitting me all over again. I thought I was past this. I thought I had finally seen her for what she was. But now, standing here, I realize that I never really knew her at all. The room feels smaller, the air heavier. My plan is crumbling before my eyes, and Adrian is enjoying every second of it. I can't let him win, not like this. But then, something shifts inside me. A calmness, a cold clarity that cuts through the anger and the hurt. I have one final move left, and it's one Adrian won't see coming. I take a deep breath, my voice steady, controlled. You both think you've won, but you've underestimated me. Adrian raises an eyebrow, his smirk faltering. What are you talking about? I pull out my phone, opening a secure app. You thought I'd just hand over all the evidence and trust you wouldn't try something like this, that I'd let you play me again. Adrian's eyes narrow. What are you doing? I hold the phone up for them to see. The feds don't just have copies of the documents. They've been listening to every conversation I've had with you, every deal, every move. You've been under surveillance for weeks. The moment I walk out of this building, they're coming for you. Sophia's face pales. Adrian's smirk vanishes completely. You're bluffing, he growls. Try me, I say, my voice ice cold. You've got two options. Walk away and disappear, or watch your entire world burn down. The silence is thick. Adrian stares at me, fury burning in his eyes, but he knows he's beaten. He's played this game for years, but he's never been this close to losing everything. Finally, he speaks, his voice low, defeated. Fine, you win. The weight of Adrian's surrender fills the room, the tension crackling in the air. His empire, the power he wielded so ruthlessly, is collapsing. And for the first time, I see him for what he truly is. A man who's lost control. But there's no victory here, not yet. Adrian turns to Sophia, his face twisted in frustration. You know what to do. Sophia doesn't respond right away. Her eyes dart between me and Adrian, and I can see the conflict tearing her apart. But in the end, she makes her choice. She always does. Without another word, she turns and walks out of the office, leaving me and Adrian standing there in the suffocating silence. Adrian watches Sophia leave, his frustration barely contained, but there's nothing left for him to say. He's lost. The man who thought he controlled everything, who thought he could manipulate me and everyone around him, has finally reached the end of his game. He glares at me, hatred radiating from every inch of him. This isn't over, Harper. You might have won today, but people like you, ambitious, desperate for control, you always end up crushed. I don't flinch. His words, once sharp and intimidating, now sound hollow. You're done, Adrian. Walk away, disappear, or face the consequences. That's all you've got left. For a moment, I expect him to lunge at me, to throw one last desperate punch, but instead he just stares. His jaw clenched so tightly I can see the veins pulsing in his neck. Finally, he steps away, breaking eye contact. You'll regret this, he mutters under his breath before storming out of the office. The door slams behind him, and just like that, he's gone. The silence that follows is suffocating, the weight of the confrontation hanging heavily in the air. I stand there, alone in Adrian's office, looking around at the empire he built. A kingdom of lies, corruption, and manipulation. It's all crumbling now, and for the first time, I feel the full gravity of what's just happened. I won, but it doesn't feel like victory. I glance at the city skyline outside the window. the world moving on as if nothing's changed. For everyone else, it's just another day. But for me, everything is different. The power I once thought I wanted, the control I fought so hard to keep, it's all meaningless now. The people I trusted, the life I built with Sophia, it was all a lie. I pull out my phone and send a single message to David Russo. Me. It's done. The reply comes quickly. David. Adrian? Me. Gone. David. And Sophia. I hesitate, my fingers hovering over the screen. Sophia. The woman I loved. The woman I thought I knew. Who played me from the very beginning. Even now, after everything, part of me wants to believe she cared. That somewhere, buried beneath the lies, there was something real between us, but I can't let myself believe that anymore. Me. She's gone too. 3 weeks later, Adrian Wolf's empire has completely collapsed. The federal investigation moved quickly, seizing his assets, freezing his accounts, dismantling every piece of his corrupt network. The media barely got wind of it before Adrian vanished. No one knows where he went. Frankly, I don't care. He's gone, and that's enough for now. Sophia, on the other hand, disappeared more quietly. After our last confrontation in Adrian's office, I haven't seen or heard from her. She's out there somewhere, but I don't expect her to come back. She made her choice, and I made mine. The door is closed. At the office, things have changed too. My rise within the firm didn't go unnoticed. The partners have been watching me closely, and the conversations around my potential promotion have shifted. I'm on track to becoming one of the youngest partners the firm has ever seen, but the thrill I once felt about that possibility is gone. One morning, as I sit in my office overlooking the city, my assistant knocks lightly on the door and hands me a sealed envelope. It's from the partners, a formal offer to join the inner circle, the culmination of everything I've worked for. I stare at it for a long time, the weight of it pressing down on me, but there's no excitement, no sense of achievement. All I feel is emptiness. The ambition that once fueled me, the drive for power and success. It all feels hollow now. I've spent years climbing this mountain, only to find that there's nothing waiting for me at the top. I open the envelope, reading the offer. It's everything I wanted, everything I fought for. But as I look out at the skyline, the city stretching endlessly in front of me, I realize something I hadn't seen before. I don't want it anymore. I close the envelope and set it aside, unfinished. There's nothing left for me here. I thought that taking down Adrian Wolf, exposing Sophia, and winning this game would bring me closure, satisfaction. But now, all I feel is the weight of everything I've lost. Trust, love, ambition. They were just words, illusions I chased for too long. Later that evening, I sit in the corner booth of a small diner, the same place I went to after I first caught Sophia. The fluorescent lights buzz overhead, the smell of cheap coffee filling the air. It's quiet here, peaceful in a way the office never was. I stir the cup in front of me, watching the liquid swirl, but not really seeing it. My mind drifts back to everything that's happened. Adrian, Sophia, the life I thought I had. It all feels so far away now. My phone buzzes in my pocket. It's a message from David Russo. David, heard you didn't take the offer. I stare at the screen for a long moment, then type my reply. Me, I didn't. David, what's next for you? I don't have an answer to that. Not yet, but for the first time in a long time, I'm okay with that. I don't need a plan. I don't need control. For now, it's enough just to sit here, alone with my thoughts, away from the games, the power plays, and the betrayals. I put the phone away and take a sip of my coffee. The city hums quietly outside, and for the first time, I feel something close to peace. Months later, I hear whispers that Adrian Wolf is still out there, lurking in the shadows, rebuilding his empire piece by piece. Men like Adrian don't stay gone forever. They come back, sometimes stronger, sometimes different, but they always come back. I know that one day he'll resurface, and when he does, I'll be ready. But for now, I'm letting go of the need to control everything, the need to win. As for Sophia, I don't know where she is. I don't think I'll ever know, but I've stopped wondering if any part of it was real. The woman I loved, the woman I thought I knew, is gone. Maybe she never existed at all. I walk through the city, the skyscrapers towering above me, vast and indifferent. The world keeps moving, and so do I. The only thing I know for sure is that I'll never trust anyone like that again.